Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. And guys, I am Mike Spider Slayer, and at my side is
Hey, Kat Comic Uno. How's it going? Thanks for. I'm used to you introing me, so Brand's not here yet, which is why we're a little late. So sorry about that. We're trying to stall a little for Brand to come on, but he said he'll be on in a few minutes.
Yeah, so definitely he'll be on in a couple of minutes. He's just running a little bit behind, but we definitely have a good show for you guys today. I think we got a lot of solid news pieces, much better than last week, I think. And then we have also a great amount of comic books to talk about as well. This week we had DC Future State, and then we also have the whole thing going on with our big topic this week with Venom, and we'll definitely talk about that later on as well. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this show. I'm going to pass it on to Kat. We're going to start talking about the news. We'll kind of dance around what Brant wanted to talk about, and then we'll go back and visit him. So take it away, Kat.
Yes. Well, first of all, I see a lot of new names in the comments, so thank you so much for that. Sean B, who is a normal viewers here, but we got Cosmic Gold, sad topic. Yes, we will be talking about the sad topic. We got Rudy Verdon, who says, hey to me. Hello, Rudy. So let's get in. Oh, how are you, Comic Frontline? I think we're doing pretty well. Again, a lot of exciting stuff to talk about this week. So I am excited, and a lot of news as well, not just the Venom news. So we're going to get into that. So first up is that I'm going to try doing stuff that Brant did not mark down. Ghostmaker is getting a backup story. I believe it's in the Joker. Maybe it's Batman. I honestly don't remember, but he is getting a backup story, which hopefully this gets us more interested in the character. You know, I've enjoyed the new characters for the most part, besides Ghostmaker. Like, I like Punchline. I really like Clown Hunter. But Ghostmaker's not doing it for me. Maybe a backstory will help. I really didn't like that first arc.
So, you know, when it comes to Ghostmaker, I was like, are they going to put him? I thought they were going to put him in the main story, like side by side with Batman, not do backup stories, right? So is like Ghostmaker going to be on one part of Gotham and then Batman going to be on the other side of Gotham? Like, what are they going to do? Are they splitting it equally?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Is it just an origin story, even though we kind of got the origin? So I am curious if it's going to be like, if Ghostmaker will actually be in the main title as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, that's kind of, I think it's kind of lame if it's separated like that. Like, that's why there's no Robin in the book, and have Ghostmaker as kind of like not his Robin, but like his equal working together. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see them separate, you know. Then you might as well just come up with a Ghostmaker individual book on its own, because what it's going to do is it's probably going to wind up charging you more money for
sure,
for the Batman book, just because it has an extra story in there.
And I mean, that's something we're seeing with the Future State books too, where it's just like, I just want the main story, and then I get like, I don't know, a grifter story, and I was like, I don't need this. I just want to know what's going on with Bruce Wayne. So I hope that the regular Batman titles aren't doing that, but yeah, it looks like it is. And we have the same thing for Punchline. Punchline is in the Joker book, so we're getting a lot of backup stories, which I don't mind, because that one makes sense, because Joker and Punchline have a thing. Right. That makes sense that she's getting a backup story there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I want to say real quick, thanks for all the viewers that are turning into this to this stream right now.
Yes, thank you. 40 people are already. Please comment. We love hearing you. And Brant's on, so he's right on time.
Hey guys.
Let's see. Do you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Cool. Awesome.
We only did one news piece. It was one that you did not mark down, so you're all good. All right. Well, we are moving on to the next news piece, which is, I'll try going a little slower because Brant just went on. Let's talk about one that Brant didn't mark down, which is Spider-Woman returning to her old costume. I'm not a fan of her old costume. I actually like
really?
Outdated costume. I feel like it's a little outdated, her old one.
I mean, visually, I really like the old costume, but yeah, no, I like all of her costumes though. So
I I was actually excited to see, her make her return as well in this costume. I think she looks good in it. But I like the new costume as well. I thought it was really cool. And I love all the changes that she went through. But if they want to bring her back old school, I have no problems with that. But the story itself looks like she's going to be getting back to normal, and she's still going to be getting back with her family again, which I definitely want to see. So costume, no costume, whatever the case, as long as it's still a well-written story and she gets to be back with her family again, I'm fine with it.
I also want to shout out 46 people watching. I think we picked the right topic this week, which was Venom, which we are going to get to. We have a question from Jimmy. This is all for Brant, though. Where's my book? You want to update him on Last Ember?
Yeah, well, I'll get with you after the show, Jimmy. How about that?
Well, the update is that it's coming. So
yeah, it's definitely coming. I will message you after the show, Jimmy. I promise.
And we're already getting questions about Venom. Super sad Venom is coming to an end. That series is what we got me into comics in the first place. How's Spider-Woman getting her old costume news, I think is what they're saying. She had a different costume. All costumes are news in comic books. Speaking of, you want to speak of more costume news, is Black Widow's new costume.
Yep.
It's new. And honestly, I'm liking it. I'm digging it. I really like that hood.
I like the hood. Yeah. The hood's my favorite part.
Well, here's the thing that we're talking about. So like Jessica's going back to like her classic style, and Natasha's going to more like the style that Jessica was just in. Right. Yeah. In her last series, it's kind of more like a jacket look, and I don't know, it's like more modernized. I feel like, I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah. We do have a comment from Black Knight. I feel like Spider-Woman and Daredevil are two best Marvel titles of the last year from what Marvel I've read. They are both good. Daredevil I just got into with the whole Elektra reveal, and I really enjoyed that issue. Spider-Woman, I like it. It's not my favorite Marvel title because I think some issues are really, really good and then some issues are okay, but I still been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what other one would be like up there. I don't read Daredevil, so that's definitely not one of them for me. But
what else is it? I mean, I know you guys really like Thor.
Thor's been really solid this run since Cates took it over. It's been really good.
Yep.
A lot of the books that I enjoy are like kind of on hiatus, but come out every once in a while, like Runaways and Spider-Gwen and Valkyries. Like Valkyries is coming back, and I'm super excited about that.
Daredevil, I would definitely recommend, Brant. If you get some extra time, it's so well written. Yeah,
I plan to. It's just one of those where it's so far in now. It's like, man, I can barely get through my books every week. But yeah, eventually I plan on checking it out.
Yeah, there's so many books out there. We do have even more comments. I want to read those off. Gage says, isn't Black Cat getting a new costume? I like her ponytail. I don't know what they were doing in that last issue, but I like her. Like, it's not really a new look, but for some reason the art looks like really good for her.
Yeah.
I really like the art for it.
And she never does the ponytail thing, so I thought that was kind of a neat change. It was like a really, really small, subtle thing, but it was cool.
We also have another comment, which was from Bavarian, I believe. Yep. Did you all change the color to blue? Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
That was all Brant's idea. Which we'll plug again, but we're doing our Kickstarter for this podcast, and we wanted to change some stuff up to kind of model it towards the actual podcast. So that's why the podcast logo is blue. We decided to make this channel blue because that's what the channel really is about. And we'll talk about the Kickstarter after we talk about all the news pieces to get into the nitty gritty about that. But we are a week away. So please follow the page.
And just briefly, it's been 2 years since our last update to the look of everything. So we thought it was time for a change.
Yeah. And it's very sleek. Really enjoy it. Everyone's talking about their favorite Marvel books. So thank you guys. Unless there's more Black Widow talk, are we good with the costume there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Chip Zdarsky is doing another What If Spider-Man book. And this is if Spider-Man became Venom. So kind of ties into our main topic too. Yeah. So it's going to be out in April. It's called, let me see. It's Spider's Shadow. And the reason I'm excited for this, because I mean, we've seen how many times that we've seen like the black suit comes back and all that fun jazz. Chip Zdarsky did a great Life of the Spider-Man miniseries from like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. So him doing twists and turns of Spider-Man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Looking forward to it. I
I
always like
would
those
love
kind
to
of
see
stories.
what happened if Spider-Man became Venom. I think that's pretty awesome, man. It's a cool story.
We also have a comment from artist ATMD. Wait, you guys have a podcast together. So this is the podcast, but we're going to be doing an audio version of the podcast. So it's like a legit podcast.
Right.
Not that this isn't legit, but it's only video. So the Kickstarter is actually for an audio version of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we'll go into it. I'll talk about it later, but yeah, it's going to have some more bells and whistles than the live show does. So.
Exactly. So we're really looking forward to that.
But just to let you know, the live show is not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
No, same live show, same place, but there will just be two opportunities to listen to the podcast. So if you don't get to listen to the whole thing or whatever, you have a commute, it's a good way to do it. I don't know if Tevia means the Kickstarter.
He commented right above that. It was about the Spidey Venom thing.
About the Spidey thing, yeah.
Got you. I mean, I like what if. So if it's something different, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit different than stories we've gotten in the past related to that. Like it's what if Spidey kept the black suit, that kind of thing. But I don't think we've had what if Spider-Man became Venom. At least I don't remember that story.
No, I don't think so.
Getting people asking about the topic.
We're getting there. We're trying to make you stew a little bit, but we're getting
definitely
so many
will get there,
comments.
guys. We got other news that we're talking about. We'll definitely get there very soon.
Yes. Also, Bavarian says, I plan on contributing to the Kickstarter.
Awesome.
That means so much to us.
Thank you so much.
Let's get to another news piece, and then we'll get to the comments again. But Darkhawk, is getting a one-shot for his 30th anniversary. Yes. I know Brant's a big fan.
Yes. Mike and I both are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those 90s characters, and he was a member of the New Warriors, which we both love too. I love Darkhawk. It was like one of the first series that I collected all the issues of when I was, first getting into comics and stuff like that. So it's like, I remember a friend of mine haggled with a guy to get me issue 1 because I'd started it late. So I got it. He was trying to sell it for $10. I got it for $4. So it was a nice little haggle, and that kind of started my comic collecting, whatever you want to call it. But I love it. I love when Darkhawk comes back, and the fact that they're teasing something for him for the future, whatever that may be, that's really cool. I'm not too keen on it being like an anthology style book, so we'll see if how that is. But
it's a one shot.
Yeah, it's a one shot, but it's like multiple stories, right?
Yeah, so. I mean, it's always great to see him come back, but he never like truly comes back, and that's the frustrating thing about it. It's like, dude, let's just do it, man. Just rip off the freaking Band-Aid. Let's bring back Darkhawk. A lot of people think he's badass, whether you know him from the 90s or most recent stuff. Was he in Annihilation too?
Yeah.
So it's just like, dude, let's bring him back. I think you can tell some good stories with that character.
Absolutely. I agree. There's still life in Darkhawk. Don't give up on him.
We also have a comment from Paul. I am so far behind on my reading. After Future State, does each DC comic begin with a new story arc? Would it be a good jumping on point? From what I can tell, yes. I think there's only a few books that aren't, like Batman Catwoman, because it's a maxi series, like Strange Adventures, those type of books. But most of the ongoing books are jumping on points, which is great.
Yeah, I think... I don't know what the purpose of Future State was, except for, some of the new characters we got. I think it was a way to introduce them early and kind of ingrain them into the universe. But I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Not at all. We'll talk about Future State, I'm sure, for the next round of things. But let's get into the next topic here, which is... Let's see. Champions is getting a new creative team.
No.
Let me read off. I know it's been 2 issues already. New creative team. And it's going to be Danny Lore, and the artist is Luciano Vicio, which I've seen some of their artwork on Twitter, and I've enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm just kind of done with Champions right now. I just don't know if they know what they're doing with that book.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's the thing. They don't know what they're doing, and it seems like this is still continuing the Kamala's Law storyline, which is a little disappointing. I was hoping we'd move past that with a new creative team, but
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought they were going to get past that also, and then I read what it's going to be about, and I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't care about that storyline. Like, if we got past it and it kind of just started something new, I would jump on board with it. But after that, I'm just like, no way. I'm not going to read it.
right, yeah.
Tizzy says Future State is a great way to really start. I think some of the books, it's hard to tell because some of I don't know what's continuing, what's not. It's like, oh, are these just kind of Elseworld stories? It's kind of hard to tell. I would honestly say maybe even after Future State. There's only been like 1 or 2 books I've really enjoyed from Future State. So I don't know. Well, again, we'll get into that. I'm sure when we get into talking about those titles, because we've read all the issue 1s for Future State for the show.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to some more DC news, though. Damian Wayne is getting his own ongoing book, and this is just Damian Wayne. I think this is the first time we've had a just Damian Wayne book, which is kind of cool because usually he's like teaming up with somebody or he's on a team. And this is Joshua Williamson who's writing it, and Gleb can never pronounce his last name, but Melenikov, who's doing the art, who's done some Angel. I think he also did Ginny Hex. So if you enjoyed that book, the same artist who did the special. I'm excited for this. I really like Joshua Williamson's work, and I like that they're diving into the League of Assassins stuff. I want to see what Damian Wayne is without kind of Batman over his shoulder.
I was excited about this book when I saw it, the solicitation for it, because I thought it was kind of cool. He's getting to go on his own adventure. He learns about this League of Assassin or the tournament or Lazarus tournament that's going to be going on, and it's taking place in a secret island, and it's like he's going to have to find this island and what adventures come across his way. By the time he gets to that tournament, you don't know. But again, it's going to be cool because you get to see maybe some character growth there. And I want to see what his mission is now that, like Kat said, he's on his own. He doesn't have anyone by his side. So I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, we've been waiting to see what's going to happen with Damian, right? And we kind of assumed it was having something to do with the League of Assassins and everything we'd heard and everything. But I love that he's going back into that world, and it's like you said, Mike, it sets him on his own journey outside of the Bat family, and we can see Damian's growth hopefully through this.
Also, I want to say we hit 60 viewers, so thank you guys so
That's
much.
Awesome.
That is really cool.
Thank you, and we promise we'll get to the Venom. It's not clickbait. It's just we love to talk about all the other news that we have before we get to our main topic. So
they would have been really upset if we went with the other topic then, huh?
Yeah. They definitely would have been very. So our original topic, which we're still going to talk about it, but just not as the main thing, is Jessica Cruz joining Sinestro Corps. And then me and Mike at the same time saw this news piece, and Mike messaged and he's like, we should make this the title. And I was like, I literally was just going to message that.
I was asleep, so I didn't see it.
Yeah, Brant was asleep. He does so much more. He changed the logo. He's done everything for the Kickstarter. So it's okay that he wasn't around for the title.
That was like, I'll change the title. You do the thumbnail. I'm like, okay.
And I wake up to a different show. So.
I was like, what are we talking about tonight? That's why Brant was late. He had to figure out what we were talking about.
I had it was a complicated topic. I had to research it heavily.
So much research. So we do have only one media news piece, so I'm going to throw that in, and that is Barbara Gordon has been cast for season 3 of Titans. I still have to watch season 2, and it is the actress Savannah Welch. Definitely looks cool. Looks like Barbara, which is awesome. I'm excited. She's also a police commissioner, it looks like, in the show, which is kind of interesting. Cool. Yeah, might be rekindling romance with Nightwing. I'm stoked. We haven't really seen a Barbara Gordon live action version of the character. Yeah,
I mean, just the Oracle version, not as Batgirl or not as as that character. Yeah. So I love Titans, as everybody knows. I think season 2 is better than season 1. I've got high hopes for season 3. So I think that's really cool that we're getting Barbara Gordon as well. I'm not familiar with the actress though.
Me either. I wasn't familiar, but she looks cool. And like I said, kind of looks like Barbara. So I'm interested in that. Randy says, "Oh, sure, like her joining the Corps is a small thing." It was. I mean, it wasn't not a good topic, but this one was just we thought.
Yeah, this
more people
trumps
were
it.
talking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, by far.
And we're still going to talk about Jessica Cruz, so don't worry, guys. It's just not our title. So getting into some more Batman news, because there was just a lot of Batman news next to Venom news, and that is Batman travels to Europe with a mini-series written by Tom Taylor. You know, I at first saw Travels to Europe. I'm like, didn't we already get this book, Batman Incorporated? I don't know if I care. And then I saw Tom Taylor. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this.
You're like, oh, look, Tom Taylor's writing Nightwing, and he's writing a Dark Knight Batman book too. So, yeah, I think that this could have potential.
It was kind of funny because I found the news story on this one and I posted it, and I guess you must have missed where I said Tom Taylor because you just saw the Europe thing. Or maybe you saw it on social.
No, I saw it on social media at first. And then I mentioned to you, I was like, when I first saw this, it was just like, oh,
yeah. So it was so funny. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Tom Taylor, Batman, I'm there. I don't care where it's at. So that was awesome.
We're not with COVID. We're not going anywhere. So take me to Europe with Batman.
Yeah, and one of the Kuberts is doing art, so that's really cool too. You know, it's going to look gorgeous as well.
Yeah, should be interesting. You have any thoughts, Mike?
I'm excited about the book. I think the book is good. I've always am a huge Tom Taylor fan. I pretty much jump on board with everything that he does. So I think this could be potentially a really good book.
We have a super chat. Thank you so much for Varian. We really appreciate it. It's not much, but I appreciate you guys. That is a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that is so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
And we have 66 people watching the show.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I think this is like the most we've gotten in a really long time, or maybe ever live. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Isn't this Batman overload? Yeah, but I don't care if it's Tom Taylor. You know, I think it depends on the creator and all the stuff that's been coming out for Batman seems interesting. So and also not just Bruce Wayne related. A lot of the stuff is like, all right, Damian's here, which we're going to talk about the next book, which let's get into it. Tim Fox is getting a digital first series, which I believe is going to be a mini series, but it also is going to be published physically, which I'll be reading it physically. I won't be getting it digitally. But yeah, those are the type of Batman news we're getting. They're different characters. They're within the Batman universe, but it's still, you know, it's different people, which is nice. And I want a Tim Fox book. I want to learn more about him. So I'm definitely going to get the first issue of that one.
Yeah, I think it's cool we're getting a Tim Fox book. It's just with us in particular, the digital first books we lose track of until they come out in print. So that was my only concern with that one. So
if it was not coming out digitally, right? I don't think if it was only coming out digitally, there would be no way I'd be probably reading it.
Yeah, it just falls off the radar when it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to talk about on these shows too, because first of all, just on a Wednesday, it's kind of hard to catch up on all the digital books because I'm out on Comixology being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that, and that. So it's harder. The only one I really read digitally and I kept up with was Jessica Jones because it took so long for the printed version to come out. So I read Jessica Jones. But other than that, that's the only one I really remember like keeping up with.
Right.
We do have We have a comment from Tevia. Where are the other titles? I'm going to ignore the Tim Drake one because that's kind of more in the Batman thing we were talking about. But Superman books. I think they need to figure out Superman before we have 20 Superman books. I think with Batman, they showed they're getting the sales and showed what direction they're going with the franchise. Superman, they literally just got a new writer. So let's see what their plans are. And then once they plant seeds, I'm sure there'll be more Superman books if they do well.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, let's face it, they don't really know what they're doing with Supergirl for one. We'll talk about that. And same with John and and so forth. So yeah, I think they need to get the the House of L in order.
John has been 10 ages in the past 2 years, so
Yeah,
let's figure out his age and then move on from there. All right, let's get into our last big topic here, which is our title, which is why you're here, and that is to talk about Stegman and Donny Cates leaving Venom after issue 200. Now, let's start with Mike, because he's the one who's actually been reading the whole series fully. So what do you think?
I did not mean to do that. That was an accident.
It's okay.
I was just clicking on the screen and it did that.
So when I first saw the article and I saw the 200th issue, I was like, oh, dang, we're hitting 200 issues. And then I saw, oh, shit, this is it. Like this is the end of their run. And I must say that even though I am disappointed that they are leaving, I can honestly applaud them for knowing when their story is told and when to leave, where we've had people stay on the past longer than what they should have. Obviously, Donny Cates had an end game here, and he's gotten to that point. And by the time April comes, there will be no more of him writing Venom. Obviously, it'll open up more doors for him. But I will be sad to see him go, because I think what he did for the character, it's tenfold. I mean, he put so much depth into a character that was so, so basic in many ways. Like, he was always cool. Everyone always really loved Venom, right? But he added so much more depth into the character, and to Eddie himself, gave him, a son, and gave him a reason to fight for. He didn't make him just this brainless idiot, and he actually became like friends with Spider-Man. And there's a lot of positive things there that he's done with the character. And now he's going to have a new status quo by the time we get to issue 200 after King in Black. And whoever takes over for Donny is going to be, has a large shoes to fill, in my opinion. But it's been a great run, man. And same with Ryan Stegman. If it wasn't for Ryan Stegman, this book couldn't have been as good either. And I think his artwork has definitely gone to the next level here.
Yeah. The one cool thing about it is, there's many cool things about it, but the one cool thing about it is with writers, when they are able to take a character like that and do something special with them and add to their history so richly like that, they're trusted to do it with other characters. And we've already seen him on Thor. And I think it's going to be big things for Donny Cates going forward. They're going to trust him with other characters and other properties to do the same thing with. And that's cool. So if you're a Donny Cates fan, this is only good for you. As far as Venom, hopefully, whoever comes on next is able to pick it up and do something cool with them as well. Or, maybe we get a break from Venom for a while. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, now it's basically endless what you can do with the character. He's not just, Spider-Man's enemy anymore. You can do pretty much anything with him. And then what's going to happen with Dylan? Like, that's another thing, like his son. You know? So
does he take over the books? That's another. First of all, 79 viewers. Thank you guys. One more viewer, 80.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's crazy.
Invite a friend over. But yeah, going into what's next, I think that's also another question. Like how it's like Immortal Hulk, right? When that ends. 80. Thank you guys. It's like Immortal Hulk, where what do you do with Hulk? A character that you really didn't know what to do for so many years, and then you come out with something awesome and crazy like that. And same thing for Venom. They didn't really know what to do with the character for a long time, and then you have this run. You're like, oh my God, this is really great. It's something different, but also kind of feels nostalgic. So because Eddie Brock is the main lead. So I hope they learn a lesson of what does well is just letting a writer do their thing and kind of making it indie book, in a lot of ways. That's why Immortal Hulk and Venom was successful, because it felt like its own pocket. It wasn't trying to be anything else. It was trying to be its own thing. And I hope whoever takes it over learns that. Why was Hawkeye so popular with Matt Fraction? It was kind of the same vibe. It felt different. And it really was that writer and artist's take on the character. And I hope we get to see more of that with a lot of different franchises instead of like kind of spinning the wheels on the same thing we're seeing over and over again. Like maybe why Superman is not doing so well, maybe why Amazing Spider-Man's not doing so well, because it feels so similar to what we've had and it doesn't feel like it has a unique voice right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. When it comes to Venom, you know, or actually Donny Cates, like Brant said, it kind of opens up the door for maybe other books for him to take over. You know, people have mentioned Spider-Man. Kat mentioned this earlier, like, or actually a commenter mentioned this earlier as if it wasn't for this Venom run, this would have never gotten this person into comics. And so this is the point that we say, you know, about negativity towards comics. Sometimes we've been reading comics forever and we're like, oh, we don't like this. But for other people, this is the first time they may have read a comic book and this is what they got into. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what's so cool about this hobby. Like maybe this may not be the run for you, but it's somebody else's first time jumping on and they love it because that's what they, you know, started off comics with, you know. And I know I love this run. I'm sad to see it go. I understand why it's time. And plus you got to look at Donny Cates too. The guy's got a lot of work. So it's got to get a little bit overwhelming for him too.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a lot of indie books right now, which I've been really enjoying. He's got Thor going on. I'm sure he has a huge storyline for that as well. And he's got another project with Ryan Stegman, which is really cool. I'm excited for that. So we'll see. We have a lot of people asking us, oh, what's the #1 book you guys are looking forward to tomorrow? So at the end of the show, we actually do our most anticipated. So you can look forward to that, what's coming up there. But yeah, really excited to see where Venom goes and more importantly, where Donny Cates goes.
Yeah. And then, you know, if anybody in the comments wants to add in a little chime here, like now that this run is over, is there any particular writer that you would want to see take over this Venom book? Because this book is hot and it's got to be the right writer to take it over. Because I know they don't want it to go down the tubes, right? But if I had my choice of where Donny Cates to go, I wanted to go to Spider-Man. That would be kind of cool to see what he could do with that character.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. We have a comment from JB's. I always respect when you or any reviewer says this just isn't for me and give a good reason. It's your informed opinion without trashing other readers. For sure. You know, like Future State, right? There might be some books I don't like for Future State, but that doesn't mean there might be someone who's never read DC Comics reading Future State Swamp Thing and falls in love because it's new reader friendly and it's something they really like. So yeah, I think like Mike said, we always need more positivity in comics. And if it's not your thing, you don't have to pick it up. That's the biggest thing. I don't understand when people just complain like, oh, my favorite character is doing this. It's just like your favorite character will be doing something else in 2 years. You're allowed to not read it.
It's like we talked about that on this show and past shows we've done before with Mike. His introduction to DC was New 52, and you know a lot of us were already reading DC, and you know we're unhappy with certain things. But for Mike, it was all fresh and new, so it was exciting.
I was on board all the way, man. Like New 50, my DC history is horrible. Like it's so bad. The only thing I ever read was Kyle Rayner, and like Brant said, my new jumping on point was New 52. And it was like at the time, every book was just like, oh man, this is the best. I'm like, this is great. I get to know everything about these new versions of these characters and and whatnot. And it was good. It was interesting. And, as time went along, it kind of dropped off, as we all know. But at the time, what did DC do? It got me into reading those books. And so they accomplished their mission. I mean, that New 52 line was really popular. You can't deny that.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some good stories there, too. Some I remember fondly. I always talk about Animal Man. I think that was really good. Obviously, Scott Snyder's Batman. So, yeah, if there's something you dislike, there might be a kernel of gold there, too. And look, now Mike, all these years later, is reading all the DC books for Future State. So it shows you can... you could become a fan of something. And I'm sure with Venom that happened with a lot of people too. So we're really happy to see that. Now going into the Kickstarter we're doing. So if you guys have enjoyed this which it seems like you guys have 82 people, which is really cool. We are going to talk about our Kickstarter that is launching literally in a week. So for this podcast. So Brant, do you want to take that over?
Yeah, sure. All right. So like Kat said, we are launching a Kickstarter next Tuesday at noon Eastern time. So you definitely want to go check out this link, comicfrontline.com/CBW, and click that green button so you get notified with the second we launch. That really helps us to have the strongest launch possible. So the reason we're doing this is A, to kind of expand our audience a little bit, and B, to give everybody multiple options to enjoy the show, like Kat said earlier in the show. There are tons of opportunities if you are a fan of the show or you like to be, on podcasts, on YouTube shows. There's tons of opportunities through this Kickstarter to actually be on the show, whether it's producing a segment, recommending things for us to read, coming on the show and talking about a topic with us, all kinds of cool stuff. So you definitely want to check that out when it goes live. It's only going to be running for 2 weeks, 17 days. So it's a very short campaign, very tight campaign, and we do have early birds and that kind of thing. So, check it out.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff. We're also only 2 followers away from 40 people following the project. So if you guys can follow, that'd be awesome. And again, early bird specials. That means it's only there for a minute time. So if you follow, you'll be notified that we go live.
Yeah, we're really excited about doing it. This is the first time where we've actually done a Kickstarter as a group. Brant and Kat have obviously ran their successful Kickstarters through their own comic books. So, it will mean a lot to, for us if you guys can follow and support the Kickstarter. So thank you in advance.
Yeah. It also makes this show grander and better. That's why we're doing it. So we want to give an even better quality show. So we hope you guys can help us out with that.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier bells and whistles. We're planning on hiring an editor so we can add like bumpers in between segments and intro and outro music and that kind of thing. So it'll be this nice tight product that you get on Spotify, iTunes, etc. And the other thing I was going to say is we are part of the Make 100 initiative that Kickstarter is running this month. So we have an item it's this month. We have an item that's limited to 100, which is a custom flash drive with our logo on it that's going to have the entire first season of episodes plus bonus content. So if that interests you at all, it's a limited tier, so you want to check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, man. We're excited. So if you're true fans of comic books and you love comic book talk, that's what we talk about here. That's what it is, about all the stories. So hopefully you guys will back us up. All right. So I guess that leads us into the comic books, right?
Yep.
All right. So in case you guys have never joined us before, this is the time where we talk about this past week's comic book. So we're going to be talking about DC Future State. We're going to be talking about King in Black. We're going to be talking about all the other big books in between. There are definitely spoilers. So if you have not read your books and we're going to be talking about something, just tune out for a couple seconds. All right. So yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So the first thing that we always start off with is Under the Radar. And this is the segments where, this might be a book where you might read or never even heard of, but we talk about it so you guys can get to know about this particular book. And so today's first book that I'm going to be I'm going to let Kat talk about. You thought American Vampire 1976 issue number 4 was pretty good.
Yeah, I love American Vampire, and I think the book shines the most when it focuses on Skinner and Pearl, who are the 2 kind of main characters. And this one, we get to see them team up with the original American Vampire, which is kind of interesting. And we get to see dig a little deeper into that relationship and why they kind of felt connected in the first place. So I liked that portion of it. Artwork's really good for it. So if you've never read American Vampire, do not start here and go read the first volume.
Never read it. I don't know if I ever will, but it's just not my thing, I guess,
Yeah, and also it's a really long book. So it's not one to jump onto. Like if you read just the first issue in 1976, I don't particularly think it's new reader friendly. I do think you get more from it if you started from the beginning.
Right. All right. And then, guys, keep your comments coming. We'll kind of read your comments along the way, or we'll post it on the show as it goes. We always love the feedback or your comments. So keep it coming. All right. So the next one, I'm going to talk to, Brant, you have yours. You had Erotic issue 2 as you're under the radar.
Yeah, so I didn't feel like this issue was quite as strong as the first issue, but it was still solid, still good. This is a book this is a book from AWA for anybody that doesn't know, and it's kind of got the Spider-Man vibe. It's this kid Ollie who he gets powers for 10 minutes at a time and then has to recharge for 24 hours. So it's very erratic, as he says. And this issue, he's going to a party. He gets invited to a party because he caught a football, and he's got all kinds of trouble with this girl trying to post this video and kind of accuse him of erasing the video and all this stuff. And then you got the supervillain teacher that's kind of anointed himself principal and is kind of controlling the whole school now. So there was some fun stuff in this issue. But I don't know, it just didn't grab me quite as much as that first issue, but still, I'm still on board with this, and I think they're doing an interesting thing with the characters. And I think a lot of the scenes in this particular issue really exhibited what it's like to be a teenager. Yeah. And all that kind of stuff you go through, and running the gamut, all the different, personality types clashing, and it was just an interesting story as they went to that party. It was all centered around that party, which was kind of fun. So
I was a little torn with this issue because I liked the first issue. I think I liked it a little less than you guys, but there's some things that feel so raw and unique, like the mom's experience and her trying to find a job, and like his relationship with his brother. I feel like, okay, these feel like real people. And then you get to the blonde girl who I want to love. Like, those are the type of characters I would love, and I hate her. She's such a bitch. But she is a bitch, yeah. But she's also such a wishy-washy bitch, because it's like sometimes she's super nice and she's like, okay, I think she's supposed to be a nice character and like this is the love interest, and then other times she's just like being a bitch. So I feel like the characterization's so off for a lot of these characters. I'm like, who are you?
The funny thing is, real quick, Mike, I'm sorry. I actually grew up with somebody that was very much like that. It was nice and the mean, the nice and mean. And they exist. They are real, and they are very frustrating. So.
I will say, I'm sorry. That sucks that you had to grow up with a person like that, and I'm sure they exist. But it wasn't well written here.
My problem with this is I felt that there was too much going on in this particular issue.
There was a lot.
Like it seemed to try to hit on too many plot points. It tried to tackle the mom's job issue. It tried to tackle on the what's the boy's name? Oliver, right?
Oliver.
Is it? Yeah, Oliver, and him being popular in school or a loser in school. And it seemed to also deal with, obviously, his issues with the girl, and there was just so many things, and him also being erratic, like having him have his superpowers. And it just seemed like it was just so much to fit in one issue. And I think because it's only 5 issues, and I think they're trying to fit in all that story there.
Right. Yeah. And I totally get that, because there was also the stuff with his brother, don't mess this party up for me and that kind of thing. And, the football game and, his friends kind of making him go to the party when he didn't want. There was a lot. There was a lot to process here.
And didn't you feel like the end was kind of like we went full circle? Like the end was very similar to the end of the first issue, right?
Oh, yeah. and in Mortal Danger again. So I thought it was interesting that there was like some mystery character that showed up, though. So I want to see who that is. But yeah, there was a lot to it, and it wasn't as strong, but it's still a good series, and I still recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought like in the end of that issue she was gonna have powers or something. Like I thought that would have been really cool. That didn't happen. I also don't know how to feel about their potential romance. I think they're trying to get with that other girl. Like they introduced the other girl, be like, that's the girl you should be with. But then it also feels a lot like Sideways, and I was like, it's just so cliche. They all don't feel like characters.
It's like Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane. That's what it was like there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's totally what they're going for because he's Peter Parker. But it's just like we've seen this a billion times. Give me something different, and we'll see.
I guess we shall see. Right? There's one comment says from Master T. I really like the first issue of Erratic, and I have the second issue. Just haven't read it yet. So, like we said, it's not bad. It's just a lot to read, and it just be prepared.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right. So now we're going to go into my under the radar book, and mine was actually Haha issue 1. This book was really good. This is the same writer as the Ice Cream Man. Yeah. And it would. Did you read this, Brent?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So it has a little bit of a horrific tone in it. But it really is about this guy who is a clown. That's what he does for a living. And the circus or the amusement park that he's at is closing down. And he's a very positive person. He tries to look at things positive. His wife looks at him as a loser. He's got kids, and she's like, you got a loser job and this and that. And so he's like, no, there's investors looking to buy the place and all this stuff. And everything goes wrong with this guy. Like, he loses his job in the issue. The place is closing down. He gets mugged by one of his clown friends that he worked with. He gets robbed at the bank. There's all these things that happen to him, and it starts breaking him down psychologically. And something bad really happens in the bank. Like he gets shot in the brain, and somehow he survives it. And he's just not right after he gets shot in the brain. He's like, it's this psychological thing, man. It's totally crazy. It's such a great.
Oh, we lost him.
I guess it was Mike. I was worried it was me.
I wanted him to finish his thought before because I heard pretty much what he was saying, but it was breaking up a little bit.
It was stilted, yeah. It was funny because I've had the problems in the past. I was like, oh, Kat, is it me or is it Mike?
Who is it? It happens with StreamYard. We do have a question from Gage. Do you guys read Serial? I don't think it's. We will talk about it. Actually, we are going to be discussing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that book.
Okay.
We will get into
Kat
it.
and I do.
Yes. Yeah. We're both Terry Moore fans, so I always pick up. I also got his graphic novel. Forget what it's called. Ever, I think.
Ever. Yeah.
I haven't finished it though. I have to sit down and read it. But
I still have to get that one. Yeah. I want to go back and catch up on some of those series I missed. Like I never read Rachel Rising or Motor Girl.
Both really good. Motor Girl is shorter, so if you want to start out with that, that's a little shorter. Rachel Rising's a good read though.
Yeah.
It's weird. I see Mike's thing, but it won't connect.
Yeah, he's having a little trouble.
Yeah, he's trying to. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
There.
Adding him to the stream. Did you guys read Big Girls? I believe Mike read Big Girls. I have not read it.
Yeah, I didn't read this issue or last issue.
Yeah,
Come back to us, Mike.
Are you there, Mike? Nah, he's frozen a little bit.
You're
here, but I don't know if
you're there, but you're
hear me.
You're definitely freezing up.
Yeah.
We had a good 30 minutes with Mike using the Chromebook. He did try this time around. But as we wait for Mike, we will get into the next book, which is let's do Seven Secrets, actually, because I feel like Mike might want to talk about Gwenom more. Or Seven Secrets, I don't know. But let's get into Seven Secrets. This is the finale of the first arc. So this was really good. I really liked it. The action was off the wall. The way I could compare this is that it feels like an anime. Like every issue feels like an action-packed anime. And we get a lot. And one thing we get from Casper is that maybe he cares about his loved ones more than the secrets. And does he have like powers of some sort? Like he's definitely more special than we thought. So some really cool stuff there.
Yeah, and I mean, we started this series off knowing that he's not going to make it, right? So does that, lead to him not making it? The fact that he does care about his loved ones more than these secrets. Does he kind of screw something up by doing that? That little reveal at the end that, he might have some kind of abilities is like, what? Where'd that come from? But it's interesting, and it's like we're starting to finally get a peek into what these secrets actually do and what they are. And, Atlantis was mentioned in this issue. What, the fall of Atlantis was caused by one of these secrets and that kind of thing. So that was a perfect explanation of it. It is very much like an anime, and it was really good. I loved all the action. It was an action book without being just like wall to wall action and a quick read. Yeah, exactly.
100% agree. And that's so hard to balance because I'm not. Like, I like action. Obviously, we read comics for it, but I don't like action issues because they tend to have not a lot of story and they're just very filler. Right. But I agree. This did a really good job of telling a story, telling character stories while being bombastic and crazy. Yeah.
Plus, nobody was off limits. Like, one dude got his hand cut off. We had several people die. And it's like these were key characters of the story. And it's like, okay, this is for keeps here. All right. It just ups the intensity for it.
I mean, when the main character dies, that's like when you get to that point.
That's true.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's going on?
There we go.
You're good now. I do hear a bit of an echo though. If you want to get your,
I'm coming off again because the mic is not working now.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
See, so the Kickstarter will help us upgrade equipment possibly.
Yes, that way this doesn't happen.
It does well enough, we
or if you listen to the audio version, we probably will cut out all the parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or we do have some comments here. So Bavarian says, anyone read Once and Future? I read it in trades, but I think issue 15 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, I read it. I think I'm the only one that does. I really enjoy it. I think the first arc was probably the strongest arc so far. So I don't know. The second arc was like heavily with Beowulf and King Arthur, and I just wasn't as invested with that story, but it's still, a really good book.
We also had another question or comment as Mike is getting settled in. I think there's more to Venom after 200 for Kate's Stegman. There's so many unanswered questions. Maybe we'll see a King Venom and who's in the suit, who wields the sword, what happens after King in Black. Well, we definitely aren't getting more of them, at least in the foreseeable future, but maybe the next creative team will pick up on those stuff.
Yeah.
Or they'll wrap it up before, issue 200.
Yeah.
So we talked about 7 Secrets, Mike, as you were gone.
Oh, yeah. 7 Secrets is cool. Where do you think they're going with that when it comes to them going to, like, I didn't see that happening. I mean, what did you think?
It's weird. And, like, you don't know if they're, like, in another world, in another planet, if they're inside the briefcase. What is it exactly? Where are they?
Yeah, definitely just totally weird, man. I was like, and how are they going to come back? Like, how do you come back from that?
They never
do.
How
do you even know about those secrets? Like, the one that founded the whole 7 Secret Club, she's like, no, you don't want to mess with this case. It's going to fuck you up. And then, like, all those people die.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, you're going to go into this other portal. Well, how do you know that if you never experienced it before, Yeah. So how do you know about this stuff? So it's kind of weird, but I thought it was I still thought it was a great issue. I just didn't see it coming.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting a lot of questions about Venom issue 200. What exact number it is, I don't know, but it comes out in April, if that helps. So if you count what's out now to April, they come out once a month. You could probably figure it out.
What are we at? 31? Is it 31? 32?
Not even sure.
I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe I can find it.
We'll figure it out for you guys. But that was 7 Secrets. So now we're going into King in Black, Gwenom versus Carnage.
Okay,
which I got a lot of thoughts on.
So I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. The artwork was really wild, you know, and I kind of like where they're actually going with this particular book, because it's kind of like, obviously Mary Jane is the Carnage of this world, and it's just like, of course, she's the redhead, where it's like Cletus Cassidy's a redhead in the main Earth. So I thought that was kind of neat how they pulled that all together, and I liked it. I thought it was a better tie-in than I expected it to be, and I like this new villain of Earth 65. Could be an arch enemy now, and it's going to hurt Gwen a lot, because Mary Jane is so closely connected to her.
Yeah, this issue, I liked the ending a lot. Like, I liked once we got to the point of the book, you know, it's just like, okay, finally we're here. I didn't really love the lead up. I was like, when did she get roommates? When did she start living there? From what we remembered, it was she was bouncing back from world to world. She was commuting. So I was a little confused with that. I wasn't a huge fan of the art style, but it didn't bug me. But I'm really interested in the ending and the words of like their bond together. Because I think that, you know, for me, I definitely see Gwen and Mary Jane together. And I think they've hinted it a lot. I don't know if this arc will do that.
Right.
The opportunity to do so, even if they don't do it in a romantic sense, I think it's an opportunity to flesh out whatever their relationship is. Because I feel like neither runs have done it so far. Like, they'll touch upon it and say Mary Jane's really pissed off at Gwen, but they don't really do much past that. So I'm hoping these next two issues really dig into whatever their issues are.
Jesse got it, and that's what I found out as well. It goes from 34 to 200. So,
gotcha. Okay, cool. No, you make good points, Kat. I just think obviously it's a setup. You know, this story, this particular issue was, and so I think it did just enough to get you to obviously want the second issue. But I can see this Carnage Mary Jane lasting further past King in Black as well. And we also got another character introduced in the King in Black mythos as of right now too, by the name, is it Plague? Is that the character? Yeah. By yeah. So, and that was interesting too. So to see if this character will continue to last, and this character seems pretty powerful, because just basically just walking around, he can suck your soul and you basically die. And
that character, I'm assuming, is related to Cletus Cassidy.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's great grandfather. No, it's somewhere down the line, because I didn't read Ravencroft, and that's when that took place. They went down into it, so he was the first like major serial killer there was.
Yeah. So that was interesting. As far as Gwenom and Carnage, I agree with you, Kat. I think they have hinted, romantic, relationship between those two in the past. So it's really like jarring for her to see MJ as her, now her villain, I guess, the antithesis of Gwenom. And so it's cool. It's like this whole reinvention of Venom versus Carnage, which was really neat to see, at least. I think the story could have been a little bit stronger in the issue, though.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's kind of where I fell.
Yeah.
I did a video, and if you guys want to check it out, I did a video saying, "Is Gwenom versus Carnage something that's like a battle book, a love story?" So we'll find out. Yeah, 2 more issues, and I don't think we have an announcement of another Spider-Gwen book, though, right?
Not yet. I don't think
Not yet. Not yet.
We'll
yeah. All right. So we talked about that book, and it was good. It was better. I must say that the King in Black books were actually pretty solid this week. I thoroughly enjoyed them.
I enjoyed 2 of them.
Did you enjoy Thunderbolts?
Yes.
Yes. Good. I did too. All right. So we're going to go on to the number 5 book. And here's our top 5, where we talk about our favorite books of the week. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about Future State in a little while, too. But my number 5 is a book we already talked about, and it was Gwenom vs. Carnage.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that was my number 6. So,
Was
yeah,
it?
that was my number 6.
What was my number 6 was actually Amazing Spider-Man.
Mine, too.
Oh, nice.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which we'll definitely be talking about.
Ooh, then maybe it was because it's a big book. So
Yeah, not because it's in my top 5. It's actually, I'll tell you guys this now. It's number 17 out of 17.
Oh my God!
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Out of 17, you said?
Wow.
I read again for the second week in a row. I read 24 books.
Oh my God.
Wow. I read 19.
Yeah.
I
All right.
strike that down.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kat, what was your number 5? If it wasn't Spider-Man, like come
Mine
on.
was Serial issue 1, which is the Terry Moore book. And this is like a very calm issue in some ways. It opens up. Well, Brant, did you read Serial or no?
I did read
Okay,
it.
cool. So it opens up with this, like, you think 17-year-old girl is being abused by her boss, or this guy who's like gonna sexually abuse her. And then she's able to kill him. And then you find out this girl is, I guess, a serial killer, and she's gonna be the main character, but she's like out to get these type of people. And then somehow it connects to Zoe, who's from Rachel Rising. She knows the guy's wife, so the person who is doing this is wife, and then she finds out about it. So that it's a not a lot happens in this issue, but I liked the tone of it. It felt like kind of an opener to a horror movie, and I'm curious to see like what this book's gonna be about.
Yeah, and it was very Terry Moore, because it's totally something a Parker girl would do.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, you get that same vibe, and yeah, it was misleading because you think she's just like this teenage girl that's getting assaulted and everything, and she plays out the part really well. And then she's got like her motorcycle hidden away, and wiping the stuff down and everything. So yeah, I like the vibe of it. Like you said, not a whole lot happened, and you don't know exactly how Zoe ties into this, other than she somehow knows his wife. But I'm interested. I definitely want to see what happens next.
Go Terry Moore.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm just like looking like pretty bad right now, but like
It's okay.
now my phone's gonna die too, so I gotta
No.
It's just not a good night.
No, we're trying, guys. We're trying. So who's number 5 are we up to? Brant?
Mine. Yeah, which is the book we already talked about, which is Erratic.
Cool.
All right,
we're gonna
so
get
we
into
move
that
on.
book.
Yeah, so now we're gonna talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue 57.
I actually have to like look through it because I don't remember what happened. It's been a while since I read it.
Part of the big deal about this one is we have Peter who busts through was he at Ravencroft? Is that where he was at? Where was he?
I think that's where they're keeping the body, it looks like.
Yeah.
So he busts through and he's like, Norman Osborn, you got some explaining to do. So that's basically what happens. And he's just like, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. He's like, I'm tired of hearing about your stories, and you say that you're going to be better and you're never better. And he's just like, I'm not giving you any more. And I think what I liked about the book, though, is that I think basically what has happened with Peter is he's gone over the deep end after what has happened through him being killed or resurrected again, and killed and resurrected again. And you got to see him go through those flashbacks of him suffering. And honestly, there were some pretty gruesome deaths that they showed in these flashbacks. And he's just unhinged, and he basically almost killed Norman right on the spot, So, I mean, that's what I liked about it. I liked how it's like we kind of don't know what's going to happen to Peter going forward here.
What I liked about it, well, first I'll say what I thought was cheesy was the coming together of the Order. I thought that was the way that it was handled. But what I liked about it was Carly finding this extra body, and we don't find out who it is, but I'm wondering if it's Harry. And if it's Harry, then who's Kindred?
And why is he wearing Harry's face? Kindred from another universe, so that's my guess on it. The reason I didn't like it, I think, is the reason why I had to flip through the book. It's kind of forgettable, in my opinion. It's like, what? Like, nothing really. It was just very repetitive, and that's always been my biggest issue with currently what's going on with Spider-Man. It's like, I get it. Peter's pissed at Norman. We've been seeing this, I wasn't feeling it.
Well, even Peter mentions it. He's just like, I'm tired of dealing with the same thing over
And
over.
I'm tired too, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
it's funny in that aspect. But who do you like? It showed like what's his face's millipedes, like you know, when it went after Carly there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it makes you believe that it is kindred.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love that era of mystery about it though, and I'm hoping that Spencer is going to pull out this like twist on everything, and it's like they've already, like you said, he's kind of poking fun at his own story, and he's done that before in this run, and so I'm kind of hoping it's leading up to this long game of, oh, you thought it was this, and now it's this. So,
right,
we'll
exactly. So I thought it was better than some of the other issues because we get to see a very emotional Peter Parker, and I just don't think we've actually seen that in a very long time. So
I feel like it's not. I don't want to say it's not earned because the moments are, but I feel like the moments they pick to let those emotions breathe are weird. Like I don't know. It's like, okay, why are you yelling now? You know?
Yeah, it's just like last issue. Yeah, it's like last issue at the end where he pops through the window and he's like, Norman Osborn!
I'm pissed off at you. Let's do battle right now.
Yeah, there's definitely some cheese factor in this run for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there, but better issue for me at least.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward. Let's talk about our number 4 favorite book of the week. And my number 4 is Thunderbolts.
Mine too.
That King in Black. Is it really? Jeez,
yeah, it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This book was really good, man. It's this obviously, you know, we've seen this type of story before. It's definitely just like Suicide Squad, right? You get Kingpin who owns the Thunderbolt name, and he basically says, you get to do this battle, and you have someone that you must go to that knows about this alien stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, but you're not wearing masks because I'm against the vigilante code. So they all go in unmasked, and they got to do battle against Kindred's dragons and all this other stuff. And right away from the very first, like basically first page, you see the entire group of people starting to get killed off, which I thought was actually hysterical. I loved that.
That was the funniest thing about it too. Is like when they were first like coming together, and you know, Kingpin chose all of them. The one guy was like, "Yeah, I'd rather just stay in my cell. You know, I don't want to be part of this team." He's like, "Okay, that's fine." And then then another guy's gonna quit, and you hear this big gunshot, and he's like, "Oh, he must have tried to escape."
Yeah,
like, yeah, we're in. We're all in.
And he's like, "Oh no, I'm staying right here." And then you get the other person that gets eaten by a symbiotic dragon, like right from the start.
Yeah, got her like ripped in half too. It's like gruesome. There's like it was like a really graphic book. Like one dude is carrying the other dude's head around. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a lot of fun. They go to Ravencroft, and look who they wind up going after. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Norman Osborn.
Right. So, and then they're like, oh crap, we're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead. I was going to say, it's funny. Taskmaster is leading the group, basically. He's on the rise here, man. I'm enjoying Taskmaster.
I love your Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Taskmaster is going to be like the comeback villain of the year. Like he's all over now, man. Yeah. It's great stuff. Definitely recommend this book. Like, it has it definitely ties in a way, and all the characters in it are great. And there's some of these characters are so like D-listers. Like you had Rhino in the book, and he just like walks away. He's like, nah, I don't want to be part of this. And they're like, that's fine, because I'll probably get killed quicker by a symbiotic creature than him stomping on me a bunch of times.
And then one of the panels I chose this week was Beatrix the Leaper saying, like, there's a guy inside of Venom? Venom is Spider-Man's laundry?
I do want to give a shout to Comics Explain. Rob is in the chat. How's it going? Hey,
What's
Rob.
up, Rob? Thanks for watching, bud.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's awesome. And Collectibles Lounge says, hey.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys, for checking out the show tonight. All right. So that book was great. Kat missed out on a wonderful book. And
I
she's
know.
like,
I have no fun.
she's like, I don't care. I don't care.
So good, so.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on now. So let's talk about Kat's number 4.
Mine was Future State Dark Detective issue 1. I thought it was a pretty solid issue. I wasn't a huge fan of the Grifter story. I mean, I liked the Huntress stuff at the end, but I really enjoyed Batman. I like seeing what was going on with Bruce, him being broken. I think it was Mariko Tamaki doing what she does best and kind of getting into someone's head, dealing with trauma, and they did it really well. Mariko did it really well, and Dan Mora's artwork was really good for this as well. And it's just kind of cool to see where Gotham's at. This was like the first book I felt like things slowed down a bit. I'm like, oh, I get what's going on in the story because things are not being thrown at me, 70 miles per hour. They actually told me a story, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I appreciated that as well. And like you said, it was gorgeous. The main story was, it was good. I wanted a little bit more from it, but I did appreciate it slowing down and kind of telling us the story and showing us broken Bruce, like you said. I actually like the Grifter story, but I like Grifter. So, and Huntress showing up at the end was kind of cool too.
That was a good cliffhanger. Yeah.
I like this book a lot. I really enjoyed it. Dan Mora's artwork was absolutely gorgeous. Like, it helped Tamaki's story tremendously. And I think she told a really, really good story here. So if people were like on the fence about how she would write Bruce Wayne or Batman's story, this is a good start, man. And I think, I think she's going to do it pretty well. Same thing. I love a broken down Batman here. I loved how stripped down he is. I just love how he's just wearing basically a chest plate and he spray painted a bat symbol on there. And I thought it was really well done. I like the Grifter story too. I thought it was kind of comical in many ways. And I love those two interacting with each other, paying him $50,000 to try to get him out of Gotham. I thought it was kind of cool. Overall, great story. Loved it. And I cannot wait to read more of this in Detective Comics, like, when the actual story starts. But this was by far probably my best Future State book that I have read to date so far.
Wow. I have enjoyed probably 2 other ones more. There's one other Future State book on my list for this week. And
Me too.
I did enjoy Dark Detective more than Wonder Woman, actually, which is interesting because I really liked Wonder Woman. Yeah. I just thought, again, Wonder Woman kind of threw us into the middle of it all. This is like, okay, finally, we're not thrown into the middle. So that's why I think I'd put Dark Detective above. And there was another book. There's one other book I really enjoyed this week.
I will say, like we said privately, that this week's books overall as a collective were stronger than last week's.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I think by next week it's going to go down the crapper.
I don't even know what's coming out next week. Let me look. So next week we have, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. We'll see. That first week was a little rough for me. We'll have to see where that all goes. But yeah, Dark Detective, good stuff. And also with the new Detective Comics run, there's also a new villain already announced as well, and kind of comparing it to like the Alley story of Batman. It might be very Gotham Girl, I was going to say Gotham Guy, but his name was just Gotham. Might be similar to that, but I'm interested because that's obviously a good theme and story to pull from.
All right, cool. All right, so that was our number 4, right? Oh, sorry, Brian, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to answer Hooding's question about WandaVision real quick. I did actually watch both episodes. I really like it. I'm enjoying the show. And, it's a throwback to all those 60s shows, and it's fun.
I watched episode 1 so far. You have not watched it? It's short. No, that's why I ended up watching it from with a couple of my friends during dinner. We're like, oh, you want to throw it on while we eat some pizza? And we did. And that's why I didn't get to watch the second episode yet. But I liked it. I don't know if it was a perfect pilot because I was like, what? It's kind of like Future State. It's like you're thrown into something and you're like, okay, that's a lot. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, I'm interested for the series as a whole, I don't know if I loved the first episode.
Right.
Okay. I like that. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I was going to say my son wants to watch it with me, so that's why I haven't watched it yet.
It'll be interesting to see what your son thinks about it, because it's very much a throwback to like Dick Van Dyke and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And each episode seems like it's kind of mirroring a different sitcom from those eras, so it's kind of neat.
That's
Yeah, and
cool.
Bewitch was a interesting one to do as the first, because obviously it's two people keeping a secret, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Me and my wife just started watching finally Schitt's Creek.
I mean, obviously heard good stuff. It's hard not to hear good stuff about it.
My God,
Right.
my gosh, it's so funny. It's
Is
so
it?
funny. Oh gosh, yeah. The episodes are so short. They're like 20-minute, 25-minute episodes. So
Those
it's
are my
definitely a
favorite
good
type
one
of
to
shows.
like you can watch 3 episodes and be done in like an
Yeah.
hour. You know, I like that actually.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go back on track. Now we got on our TV talk here. So, well, it's fine. So we just did our number 4s, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. So let's talk about probably one of all of our most anticipated books of the week. This was Red Mother issue 12. This was the conclusion to an absolute phenomenal series. What did you guys think about this conclusion?
I love that she kissed her eye. This is how I explain it. I think it does not deter from how great of a series it was, because it wasn't a perfect ending though, because the things you imagined was going to happen did, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's like a thematically interesting thing, but the way it got there wasn't as interesting as I thought it could have been. I was like, okay, so she kissed her eye, she took her eye. It was maybe a little bit too psychedelic, I guess, and I was just like, oh, okay. I still love this series. I just don't know if it was the perfect finale, and only because I had such high expectations. It still was a good issue.
Yeah, I felt this issue, not the series, but this issue was a little predictable. And I expected pretty much everything to happen, and I was a little disappointed by that. I was hoping to be surprised like we had been for the entire series. But like you said, Kat, it doesn't deter from the series. It was just not as strong of an ending as I had hoped for.
Yeah, I think what happened for me is that the series just all of a sudden abruptly ended.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, issue 12 is going to be the end, so we got to wrap it up, and this is how we're wrapping it up. It almost seemed like it seemed too convenient. She went through so much trauma, so much stress, and it was just like, no, dead. Let's go. I'm out, and now I'm going to live my life.
But she's also says, but it could come creeping up again. Because again, the whole entire story was this is PTSD, because that's what it was. Like, how do you could, deal with your trauma? And she's like, well, you always have to deal with it or whatever. So it was the idea of what we all expected. I just wish they drove that point home better. Yeah, I agree. It just happened very quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I still recommend Red Mother. I still think it's a brilliant series, and it still was a good closure. Like, it was a good story.
It does. It does close the story. The journey to get to that point was absolutely amazing, and I would definitely recommend it for sure.
We do have a question from Chase, which I do want to answer.
Oh,
Wait, are you guys? There you go. So, are you guys Comic Frontline or Comic Book Corner or Comic Book Weekly? Okay, to explain, is that we started this show on another channel, but let's say for the sake of not getting you confused, Comic Frontline, we had made Comic Book Weekly on that channel. We also broadcast on Mike's channel, so we are broadcasting from 2 channels right now: Comic Frontline channel and Mike's channel. The podcast is Comic Book Weekly. We're part of Comic Frontline as a whole, but we're also broadcasting on Mike's channel.
So in short, we're all 3.
Yes.
Comic Book Weekly is the name of the show.
Yes.
Which was originally on another YouTube channel, which was our group channel called Comic Frontline. We used to do extensive work on that channel as a group. We used to produce videos, all kinds of things. And being as our schedules got busier and busier and our own other priorities that we've had to do, we've decided to just make Comic Frontline all about the podcast that we do, the live
Which
stream.
is what we all enjoyed, that's
Right.
that's what we wanted, and that's what always was the goal for the channel. So we're like, why make all these other videos we are not as passionate about, and do the thing we're passionate about? And obviously, why we're doing the Kickstarter, why we're doing all this stuff, it's to build the podcast, because we were focusing on so many other stuff. It's like, wait, we should just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That said, we do have comicfrontline.com where we post our top panels of the week and our what's the other thing? I just totally lost the other thing we post there.
We post our panels and we post the show. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. We do our best of for the year, and a friend of ours, Nicole, does some interviews and stuff on there as well.
It's a place to find all our stuff in one place.
Yeah, let's say Comic Book Uno Corner Weekly Frontline.
Exactly, that's us.
You got to toss in Last and Repress in there.
And
as well.
Ember.
Oh, geez. Yeah, but that's what we are. And StreamYard allows us to broadcast the show in multiple places.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to put it on my channel as well. So my fans that watch my show get to know, or my channel get to know, what our show is about. And it just, again, we're trying to expand the audience. So that's why we're putting it in multiple places on YouTube, on my Facebook group page, and why we're doing that Kickstarter as well. We're just trying to expand the audience to get, people to know us. We feel like we have a decent show. And so hopefully people will, it's hard to get known though. That's the tough thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if today's any credit, we appreciate it, because we definitely had a lot of people watching.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate that too.
We hope you could tune in every week.
Absolutely.
We're always here.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
All right. So now we're moving on to number 3. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My number 3 this week was actually a book we already talked about, and that was Haha, issue 1. And Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Red Mother, so we already talked about it.
Okay, cool.
And mine was Dark Detective, so we already talked about it.
Fantastic.
We also have another comment I do want to answer, because I don't know if we officially answered this, but where's Chris? Chris is still part of the show. He is just taking a hiatus for this season because he, obviously he wants to give his all for the show. So if he's only half in, half out, he didn't want to do that. So he is not going to be on for the next couple of months, but he's still part of the show. Michael did leave the show though, so he is not part of it. So I don't think we ever answered that. So
not about Chris, no.
Yeah.
Michael decided to leave the show a couple weeks ago, which we talked about last week, I think, or the maybe before, I don't remember. But so that was his personal decision, and then Chris has been dealing with some stuff, and now he's trying to, like Kat said, get caught up and all that stuff, and he's got other stuff going on in his world as well.
And the reason I even answered that is because he's talked about it on other platforms, or else I wouldn't have said anything, and that's why we haven't said anything, because it's not our right to say what's going on with Chris. But I saw him talk about it somewhere else, so that's why.
Yeah, he was just talking about it last night, I think, as a matter of fact, on a live stream.
There you go. So he talked about it there. He said it other places, so that's the information we can give you.
All right. So we're going to go forward now with I just lost our track now.
We are on number 3.
We're at number 3.
No, we were on 3, but we did our 3. So now we're up to the next big book, which is a book we already talked about. So we're on our number 2s.
Yeah. All right. So number 2. So my number 2 was a book, yes, we talked about already, and it was actually was Red Mother.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And Brant, what was yours?
Mine was also a book we already talked about, which was 7 Secrets.
And Kat?
We have not talked about this book. Is Future State Justice League issue 1. That is my favorite Future State book so far. I enjoyed it because it also kind of felt like a fresh story. Like with Dark Detective, it didn't feel fresh because we've kind of seen that with Batman before. It's him being broken. But here there's new characters and new dynamics. And I actually thought it was funny. So we get to see this like infamous team. I forget what the team was called. They're like, we're going to defeat the Justice League, and then they end up dying. So they're like, okay, now we got to figure out the murder of this team who wanted to kill us. And the whole story is that they're not allowed to know each other because that's how the regular Justice League was destroyed. But you know, things happen, and we get to see Aquaman's daughter and the new Flash have a thing. So yeah, and we get to see people being imposters. I enjoyed it. I really got everyone's voice here, and I wanted to see more. So I thought it was a very solid book for me.
I like this book myself. This was actually my second favorite Future State book of the week, and my second Future State book. I just enjoyed the Batman book a lot more because I liked both stories of the book, whereas the Dark Justice League story, like,
I didn't like that. Yeah,
gore fest, and it's just like it's another one of those books where it's like, yes, I'm buying it because I want to read the Justice League, and I have no interest in the other one. And it was just like the only difference here with Dark Detective is that I actually like that backup story, so that's why I gave it the higher ranking than Justice League. But I agree with you. I thought that book was really well done. I love the characters. I love how there was a new set of rules. There was a traitor within the Justice League before. And I love the ending of it where I think they're white Martians. I think that's who they are.
Did they actually mention it?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So they named the group, and I think if you're not familiar with them and you got to do some research, they are part of the...
Yeah, that's how they could shapeshift.
Yeah, right. So, go ahead, Brent.
No, go ahead. I thought you were finished.
No, I was just, and the artwork was gorgeous, and I thought it was fun. And to me, it was like the best Justice League book I read in a while.
Oh,
so it's
same.
like I would like to see more of this on a consistent basis.
This is also the same writer who's going to be doing the Damian Wayne ongoing, which is
nice.
Yeah.
Joshua Williamson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I really liked it too. I actually was going back and forth all the way up to the start of the show between Dark Detective and Justice League, which one I liked better. This one actually fell just a little bit below it. But I for all the reasons you guys mentioned, the stuff with the new, I think they were actually still called the Legion of Doom, the ones that died.
Yes.
Did they call themselves that?
Yeah, they took on that mantle after Lex's group. It was hilarious how bent they were on destroying the Justice League, and then you find out they're just like wiped out the next morning. It was fun. It was fresh, like you guys said. I loved the new takes on these characters. The friendship between John and Yara was kind of cool. So yeah, there was a lot to love here. I would actually love to continue this story. If we were getting more Future State, if it was going to be kind of an ongoing thing.
That's what's confusing about this.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you could feel attached to, again, Aquaman's daughter or the new Flash or Joe from Green Lantern. But are we going to see them again? How are we going to see them? And if we do see them, they might not be this Justice League. So it's hard to feel attached. At the same time, if they give me a good beginning, middle, and end, I don't quite mind.
Yeah,
it's hard.
But you're not going to see them because unless it's maybe a different Justice League book, because Brian Michael Bendis is doing Justice League.
Oh yeah,
I feel like we're going to see them in different books, but it's not going to be the Justice League. Because why would you introduce a non-binary Flash and then not have them anywhere else? Like, I have a feeling we're going to see them again. And then same thing for Aquaman's daughter. They've been building that up. And if John could be 40 years old, why can't she be 17?
I mean, maybe they'll show up in Titans or something, or they'll revive Young Justice or something. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to see a lot of these characters again, for sure.
Yeah, I just thought they're like, finally the Justice League's dynamic and chemistry worked, because I feel like sometimes the Justice League is just like, here they are, they're talking. This is like felt like a team. It felt like there was a personality there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. So that was our number 2, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I didn't like this next book this time around. So we're going to talk about Marauders issue 17.
Yeah.
This one was just like, it felt completely different from what we've been getting, and it's just boring.
Yeah, it was very middle ground, and I agree because last issue was so fantastic, and then you get this where they're trying to do too many things. There's a ball happening. Like there's some good overall, but then you got like Storm maybe leaving the Marauders. There's just a lot.
Yeah, and is she also leaving the Hellfire Club?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just don't know what's going on with her. And then the whole thing with Callisto and the Crucible and all that. It was.
See, I didn't care about that.
I didn't either. So it was a little all over the place.
Give me Kitty. That's what I want to see. I want to see her.
Exactly.
Like, when did Callisto all of a sudden become a major person in this book? Like, I was just like, okay, where did this part of the story come from? You know? So this was a letdown for me, unfortunately. So I was like, man, hopefully next issue starts to pick up. But yeah, this was sad. All right, well, since we spent so much time talking about that one, let's just move on to the next one. So we're going to talk about our number one book of the week. And my number one was a book we talked about, and that was Dark Detective.
Nice.
And Brant, what was yours?
Mine was not a book we talked about, and you guys are going to disagree with me. I know, because it was Future State Teen Titans.
Okay. No, I if you said Superwoman, I'd be upset.
Oh yeah. No.
So Teen Titans wasn't. It's not like I dislike it. I just thought it was a little bit like all over the place for me.
See, I liked it though, because they were flashing back to things that happened and then flashing back to the present to kind of catch you up on certain characters. And I thought it had a good flow to it. And I thought it was really interesting how Beast and Cyborg somehow got fused together.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, it's like, but that was really interesting. And then we get like hints at who this Red X is, but we still don't know. And it's interesting because they've obviously done something really bad if they're being kept, in a prison cell. And I thought there was a lot of cool things about this, and it was the whatever happened between Dick and Corey. To make them kind of on the outs like that too is like just there were so many missing pieces that I want to have the blanks filled in for me. I want to know what happened here, so it like totally hooked me in that way, I guess.
I feel like when it comes to Corey and Dick, anytime there's a future storyline, they're always on the outs. And you never know how they got there. They're just like, they're always just don't like each other. So that's definitely something I guess I saw coming. But yeah, I think it was okay. It was kind of a middle ground book for me. I actually really liked the opener. I really liked how callous Dick Grayson has become. And then you have Amiko who just wants to say bye to Wallace, which is also a shame about the whole Wallace stuff. And I'm still upset about it with the Flash. But
another Flash that's dead.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
You noticed that she was wearing the symbol, like his tattoo. She was wearing a tattoo.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
She's wearing the Flash symbol on there. It was kind of cool. I like the book. I just felt it was kind of a little bit all over the place. It could have been a little bit confusing at times for readers. But I love seeing all the characters. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. Like, especially from the most recent series, I thought that was cool. Then when you got to see a bunch of new characters that you don't even know. Like, there wasn't this one girl called Brat Girl?
Yeah, Brat Girl. Yeah, like the bad ears. Yeah. I thought that was funny. Yeah. It felt to me like, okay, this was like real repercussions of something that drastically happened to their team. And it felt real, and it felt like they were still dealing with it, and just, I don't know, I connected to the emotions of it.
Mm-hmm. I like that what Mike was saying. There's the mix of different characters because you do have Dick, you do have Red Arrow, and then also the mystery of who Red X is in the end. Yeah, exactly. But I just kind of want to know the answer at this point. I hope they don't take too long for that one.
The thing, I mean, you're going to be getting a Strange Academy book in the future, so you're going to learn who these characters are. And maybe this is the road that between Teen Titans and this, it's going to lead up to this particular point, maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. So that was our number ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, mine was 7 Secrets. I don't think I said.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Mine was already talked about, so we're good.
All right. Okay. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the Future State books. We're going to talk about them. We'll talk about which ones you might be dropping, if you're going to drop them at all. But we talked about Dark Detective, so we all got our opinions on that one. We talked about Teen Titans, so we talked about that. We talked about Justice League. So let's talk about, I'm going to just get it out of the way. Let's talk about Kara Zor-El, Superwoman.
All right. Oh, I have so many thoughts about this book.
Oh, man.
When you open it up, I was like, okay. Like, it could be cool. The art's not too bad. But as I read through it, I was like, man, this art is actually, like, really white. It's, like, very, very bright. And I was like, I can't actually get into it.
I
It's
feel like
hard
I
to
was in
read.
Gym World.
Right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that kind of got me out of it.
I like the way she was drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was neat, but the colors, the colors were just off in it.
Yeah, it didn't work. And then it goes back to they just don't know what to do with Supergirl, because it goes back to the story of she's angry because, you know, she couldn't take care of Clark, and then she couldn't take care of John, and then there's a new girl she could take care of. And I'm like, this is the same story we keep getting over and over and over again.
Yeah, and this is years in the future, and she's still holding on to all this crap.
She also makes an oath to Crypto that she's going to try to do the right thing also,
because the animal taught her more than any of her other relatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, why introduce this new character? Who gives a rat's ass about her, honestly? Like, who cares? Like, I was just like, I don't care about this shape-shifting character. It just gives me no reason to read this particular
because the book also didn't give the book didn't give a reason for you to care. Like, like, okay, you have the Flash, who was introduced in Justice League. This is the first time we've ever seen that person. The reason to care, diversity, you actually get a personality from them. It's like, cool, I want to learn more about that person. But this is just like, okay, what makes you different from anyone else? And when are we going to see you again? It's just like, why do we care about you?
Plus, she was kind of a brat. Or they were kind of a brat. It was just like, they were complaining all the time. And it's just, I don't know. I was bored. I was completely bored by this.
I was so bored. It's so the dialogue was so heavy on words, I would say, which again, it's not always an issue, but if you're covering up the art and it just gets bogged down with the words, it's hard.
It was also a lot of words not saying much. You know?
Yeah, she was so wishy-washy.
Words.
Always repeating herself. It was just a book not needed. I really don't think it was a book that was needed here for Future State.
I will say, I will not be getting issue 2, and this is coming from a Supergirl fan. I hate that I the last Supergirl book I read that I love was Supergirl being super. Why can't they do that book? Please, I love that book so much.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That was the last good Supergirl I read as well. Yeah, I'm done with this one. That's probably the easiest decision I've had from Future State so far, aside from Swamp Thing.
So yeah, that's what we think about that book. All right, so let's talk about a book I didn't like. It was better than Kara Zor-El, but I didn't like Superman, Wonder Woman either. I wasn't a huge fan of that one, even though it was better. I only liked Wonder Woman in that issue.
Right. That same.
I liked it. I liked it because the plot was fine. Like, I think with a lot of these Future State, that's what I have to say. It was fine. Because a lot of these other Future State books, they're boring. So if I can get fine, it's like, okay, at least it wasn't boring.
You got a sun guide fighting another sun.
Yeah, but
Solaris. And Superman is drained of his powers and he can't do anything. So Superwoman or Wonder Woman has got to carry the torch for him, basically.
The Wonder Woman side of this book was good. It was entertaining. Her drinking the homemade kochaka, however you say that. Taking an extra shot before she goes and helps. It was just funny stuff. I like her character a lot, but John, man, and just like the narration there, it takes him so many seconds to drink his coffee, but he likes to, take his time. So he's going to take an extra point some second. It's like, what? I don't care.
I can never hit the mark of why I don't like John. And people, again, I always say, people are always like, why do you hate John? And I don't hate him. The reason I don't like John is because he's Superman. Like, his personality is so bland. It's just like, I'm a good kid. You know, I'm the Boy Scout. Like, what makes you different from anyone else? Like, it's just like he has no personality. And even when he's the fun-loving 9-year-old or whatever he was, it's just like he's also boring then because it's like he's like any other 9-year-old. Like, it's just like, I don't care. It's just like, what makes you different, John, than anything? And I want a personality from him. And honestly, the reason I mentioned that is because that monologue reminds me of that. He's just boring. he's
I get that here for sure. Yeah, I agree with you here. I do like young John a little bit better, but yeah.
I just, you know, I think that could be a struggle writing John in the future, though. But it very may well be, you know. Super bland man.
He definitely needs his own personality. He needs to come into his own a little bit instead of just being a carbon copy of Clark.
Of his dad. Yeah.
I don't even know how to do that because a lot of the adventures where he's trying to be different, it feels similar to something we've gotten already. Again, like the two boys teaming up. We've seen that before with other characters. Him going to Legion of Superheroes. We saw that with Supergirl. I want to see something just really like an Immortal Hulk, a Venom version for Superboy. Give me something completely different with this boy.
I just think you should have left him young and have him go through the trials and tribulations of being a young boy growing up. And that's what we've missed. And you could have changed him completely, make him completely different from his dad in many ways.
And I think the weight, okay. I was just gonna say, I think the weight of your dad being Superman should have a bigger point, and your mom being Lois Lane. Like, I feel like the parent, like, they compare, like, oh, my dad's Superman, he's cool, but there's never that emotional weight of like, can I be as good as him? And I feel like they've never really dug into that, or that his mom's Lois. I feel like she's just like kind of pushed to the side. Like, I don't feel like they have much of a relationship at all besides like, oh, I went to space with him. It's like, but what's your dynamic? Like, what conversations do you have with each other?
I think the best we've seen him was at the very beginning when he was manipulated by Manchester Black and he was figuring out that he had powers and all that kind of stuff. And
that was good. That was towards the end of Tomasi's run, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens there. So with that being said, are you going to get that second issue? I know Kat looks like she's going to.
Yeah, I digitally. I'm not buying it printed. Like, I don't need it in my my collection. But I'll get it digitally finished off. More for Yara than for Superboy, though.
Definitely for Yara, if anything.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about the next one. So we're going to talk about let's talk about this one, Green Lantern.
Huh. I really hated that first story.
I was about to say, not so great lead story.
Yeah. I agree. This book would have been pretty high on my list, actually, if it wasn't for that first story.
100%.
I mean, was I anticipating at first a complete Green Lantern story without 3 separate stories? Yes. But I thought besides the one story, the other 2 stories were really good with major characters in the the Green Lantern universe. And I could care less about John Stewart defending a planet that's about to get destroyed. Like, didn't he go through that already? And so we're kind of witnessing that whole thing all over again. Where
it's also like it's a Green Lantern book and there's no Green Lantern anything. He's just like shooting his lasers.
For some reason, for some reason, like Green Lantern, like the rings don't work in any of these particular stories. So there's obviously that something is going to happen with the Green Lantern rings in the future. But I did like this book. I mean, the second story which was going to be our topic with Jessica Cruz, being so resourceful as she was, I thought that was pretty cool. And then her overcoming great fear is quite interesting as how she could become part of the Sinestro Corps. Now you get to see her getting ready to hold that ring, but does it actually go on her finger? That's the question, right?
I hope so. Because, I mean, for one, it fits. I mean, her whole character is based around fear. So it makes sense that would be the character that it would go to. And I think you could do interesting things with that. You know, it would be it'd be interesting to see her deal with having to be afraid all the time again, and that powering her. But maybe she could somehow manipulate it and use it for good, unlike anybody else.
I would be stoked for that. My issue, and this has nothing to do with the book, is just like, but where are we going to see this story? Because I don't even think she has a second part. I think that was the story. I'm like, why are we getting a second part to this John Stewart book, but not this Jessica Cruz story?
Yeah.
And then we had that, so that was actually really good, and I would love to see that in a sometime in the future. Hopefully, we'll get something like that. And then the third story we had with Guy Gardner, who his ring puts out on him. He gets stuck on this planet with these two species going at it with each other, and they're fighting over this artifact, and he becomes this prophet. And then he creates this, this whole civilization for them, and tells them how to handle against each other. And I thought that was a pretty cool story, because Guy Gardner, he's an asshole, and he was able to create peace, and I thought that was awesome. And then look who shows up at the end of it. It was like flipping Lobo out of all people.
Yeah. I just love the commentary there too, because it's like he spent 26 years or something like that doing this, creating this whole situation, and he's got it near perfect. And then Lobo shows up and is like, "Crap! Oh, so close, so close, perfect, utopia or whatever."
For issue 2, I was looking this up because we're not getting more Guy, which sucks as well. We're getting Teen Lantern, and then we're also going to get Hal Jordan with Oliver Queen, which will be interesting. But it's just hard because, I like those stories. I want to see them continue. Not that I want to see Teen Lantern grow. I think that'd be great. Just as we saw Ginny Hex, it'd be cool if she gets the same treatment.
But Teen Lantern's getting her own. She's getting a book with John Stewart and the
which is probably why they're doing it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's fine. Do what they need to do, whatever. But we got to be able to get our I would think the lanterns that are traditional lanterns back at some point, and not even just them, but the people that were introduced, like Jessica Cruz or Simon Bass. Like, when was the last time we saw that guy?
It's been a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys getting issue 2 for that one? Because I don't think I am. If it's just going to be John Stewart part 2,
I probably will.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, and let's see. Was that? Oh, and the last one, which is, I'm curious to see what Kat thinks of this one because it's Stephanie Brown. We have Robin Eternal, issue 1. So, what'd you think of this one, Kat? I
liked it. I mean, the plot wasn't much, and that's probably why it's not in my top 5. And Steph, I liked her. She's also very gritty now, though, which I don't know how to feel, but I got her personality. This felt like Steph. It felt like a Steph that's gone through a lot. But the reason I love Stephanie Brown is that this girl goes through the ringer and she always comes out with a smile. So it's kind of weird to see, what could she go through that's so hard that she's this version and not the fun-loving Steph, because she went through so much. I mean, she died and came back to life. She, had a teen pregnancy, had to let go of the kid, and then she also, her dad was a supervillain. How much more stuff? I mean, she loses her eye, so that's kind of a big deal. But it doesn't feel. It's not her character, and I don't know if. It's weird to say. I think the last person who got Stephanie Brown right was Brian Michael Bendis. I think he knew her character pretty well, but I just feel like a lot of people don't know how to write Stephanie. But I won't say it wasn't. I don't think she was written badly here. It just didn't feel like her. She just kind of felt a little stilted to me. But I still enjoyed seeing her, and I liked seeing the relationship. And I thought it was a fun adventure. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll get issue 2, and it was cool to see them back.
Yeah, I didn't really care much about the plot of it. I think it was interesting him getting covered with the Lazarus Pit resin and what that may do to him.
Makes him eternal.
Makes him eternal.
That's why they call him Robin Eternal.
So I mean that's interesting. That's an interesting plot point. And I like the stuff with him and Stephanie as well. But I agree, there wasn't a whole lot of depth there.
Yeah,
and it was an action heavy story. It was very plot driven, point A to point B. Let's stop this shipment kind of story. But it was decent.
Art
I do
seemed
wanna-
a little stiff to me.
Who did?
Yeah.
The art seemed a little
Art
stiff,
definitely
you know?
was a little weird at times, especially some of the facial expressions. We do have a comment from Radio. Steph has had an Inks episode before, like when they thought Tim was dead. But I've always felt like that propelled her story. Like she always like wanted to do more because of it. Like she's like, I want to prove everyone wrong. So like when Tim died, she's like, I'm gonna be Robin. I'm gonna do this. Like it was angst, but it was driven and again, she had a different personality towards it. It wasn't jaded. I think it was angsty. That was the difference. Jaded and angsty are two different things. So we'll see where it goes tomorrow/today. We have the Batgirls issue, which I'm a little nervous about, but I obviously gonna be the first story I read, see where it's going.
See, I like this issue. This was like one of my more favorite issues for that $3.99 price point, right?
I agree
You
with that.
basically get what you paid for here. And for $3.99, I wasn't disappointed, right? It's just like I rather pay $3.99 for sometimes an okay story than $8 for a story that has 20 good pages and then 50 pages that I didn't even care about or wanted to read. You know, so I could appreciate that for what it was.
Completely.
Yeah,
agree with
I
that.
wish we had more like that.
Right. All right. So that is all the Future State other wave of books that came out. So now I'm going to pass it over to Brant. We're going to talk about finally our most anticipated books that we're looking forward to tomorrow.
And so we're already talking about Future State, so let's just run down the line of those and talk about which ones we're looking forward to. So we've got the next Batman #2. So I think we all enjoyed that first issue, so I'm sure we're all getting that one.
Yeah,
Also, Batgirl, so
yeah.
Exactly. We got Nightwing issue 1. So I'm curious about that one as well.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
excited for the art for that.
Who's the artist again?
Nicola Scott.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you really like her Black Magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Dick is wearing that headset now around his
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. So
New costume.
that'll be different.
But also, is this the same Nightwing as the Teen Titans Nightwing?
Right. Yeah, that's
Who knows?
right, exactly.
Not.
That's
Probably something completely different.
I think it's going to be different because from what like the costume looks like, he's not wearing the Deathstroke stuff, and that also means like, oh, did Future State matter? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. I also, one thing, going back to Robin the Eternal, they mentioned that Jason betrayed everyone, and that I really want to know like how Jason betrayed everyone.
Why didn't he have a book?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Yeah.
he's Nightwing.
We find out it's not Dick Grayson.
All right, we got Immortal Wonder Woman #1, so we finally find out what happened to her, what she became, maybe.
I'm excited about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too. And it's Jen Bartel on art.
Oh,
Can't
God.
get better. Yeah.
Love Jim Bartel's art.
So excited for that.
Oh, my goodness. Superman Worlds of War. I saw somebody in the comments say this was the first Superman book they're picking up of Future State, so that's cool.
I'm
This
not
looks
that
kinda
excited.
Cool.
Are
Yeah,
you
not
excited?
either.
I can see this not being up Cat's alley.
Yeah.
This kind of gives me like Planet Hulk vibes as he's in this different place and he's doing battle against these creatures and whatnot.
But haven't they done like the Mongol storyline with Superman recently?
As long as it's not Mongol, I'm okay with it.
Definitely will be,
Can't
yeah.
Mongol though.
Yeah, it'll be Mongol. What's it?
Yeah. It'll be Mongol's like kid.
We got Catwoman #1.
I'm
I
actually
want to
excited
like
about that.
Catwoman. You excited?
Yeah, because she's supposedly like on this train, and
Yeah.
I forgot what she's going to be doing, but she's got like this suit that's like a magnetic suit, or whatever, to hang on to this train, and she's doing some kind of crime in it. I forgot exactly what it is, but it looked like it has potential.
Of course, it's got to be a heist.
Catwoman. Yeah, it has to be. I want to like a Catwoman book so desperately, so
Right?
I'll take it.
And then the last Future State one is Shazam, which I'm always nervous now when I
Like,
hear
what are you gonna
Shazam.
do with? Yeah, what are they gonna do with him? I don't know. I'll pick it up. That's
I
it.
think Billy Batson goes missing.
Mm.
Oh no! Then who's Shazam?
Shazam.
Don't know. Oh boy. All right. So let's talk about
Marvel Shazam.
Yeah, let's talk about some other books. We got King in Black #3. First 2 issues were phenomenal. Looking forward to this one.
I'm getting it because now that I'm so far in, why the hell not?
You gotta find now. You have to find out what's going to go on with Eddie because it's important. We're getting to the end.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, and also it does feel like it's impacting the Marvel universe, and there's like a good soap opera story going on. And I've enjoyed the last 2 issues. Not enough for me to get physically, but I've enjoyed it digitally.
Okay,
that's cool.
Continuing with King in Black, we got Black Cat, which we were talking about her ponytail earlier.
I would read it just for her ponytail. But
yeah, right. and it's heist because they're trying to steal Doctor Strange, so that's going to be fun. Seeing Black Cat and her ragtag group trying to steal the screen from the god. So
that first issue was great. I really love that first issue. A lot of fun, a good time, great artwork, and again, hopefully, it gets people to buy her series when it comes out once again.
So a couple that you're looking forward to, Mike. We got Maestro Warren Pax #1. I know you enjoyed that first Maestro series.
Yep. Now we get to see him try to find a way to how he takes over basically the world. First, it was just the kingdom. Now it's the world.
And then we have Deceased Dead Planet #7. Is this the last one, or is there more?
Yeah, this is the conclusion to that. So, now we get to see the heroes. They have a cure. They have to administer the cure, but at the same time, the Amazon droids have been released from the villains, and they're destroying the zombies. So now it's like, shit, we wanted to administer the cure, but now they're going to kill all the zombies. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Your mic went a little low, Mike.
And he's gone. All right, so I'll talk about mine real quick. Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon #1. I don't usually take a chance on the Iron Fist books anymore, but Larry Hama is coming back to the book. Legendary creator. I love Larry Hama. He's the one that wrote the entire Marvel run of G.I. Joe. He's still writing some at IDW. He's written Wolverine, so I definitely want to read Larry Hama on Iron Fist, so I'm definitely going to check out that first issue.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And let's see what else we got. We got Kat's favorite book, Batman Catwoman #2.
My favorite book. Look, I just need to see what's up with that daughter. Like, I just want to see what's up. That's it. You know, I would just want to see her like at a cafe drinking coffee with her girlfriend. Like that. I'd rather that book than whatever this book's gonna bring me.
I am really on the fence about this book. I am really on the fence about it. Like, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get it. No, maybe not. Maybe I will. I really hated the first issue. Yeah. So I've been like really debating if I'm going to pick it up or not.
I want to see the train wreck, in all honesty. Like, I'm getting this by accident physically because I was just like I don't know. I just
witnessed the train wreck the way this book was written. That's the train.
I want to see more of it though. I wanted to see the fire get bigger. I want to see what happens with it. I mean, we read all of Tom King's run. I got to see how he wraps this up.
Yeah, I'll probably get it too, and I'll probably regret it.
I'll definitely regret it. But
all right, a book I have no interest in, Scumbag #4.
I like this book. It's fun, and I'm ready for the ride.
I'm ready for the sex doll pilot of his car. Brent right now is like, what?
It's a good book.
It's fun. It's different. Like I said, I said it last time, the end of the last issue had me back on the book again because now I want to see what he does in these missions that he has to do.
That's cool. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and I'm still not reading it.
Definitely would not recommend for you.
Yeah. Last book we have to talk about is the book that we all read, which is Stillwater #5. Man,
that book's a roller coaster ride. We're up to issue 5, and I feel like so many things has already happened in that book.
It's crazy. It's so good though, and it was so surprising. I remember not thinking I was going to like it when going into it.
Yeah,
and it totally hooked me, and I've been enjoying the ride. So.
Very intriguing book. You kind of like, oh, what's going to happen next? Because it's very unpredictable. It's kind of like how Red Mother was. Like, you truly don't know what's going to happen, and that's what makes for such a great story.
exactly. So Serenity asks if anybody's reading Commanders in Crisis. I finally dropped it. So
yeah, I dropped it with issue 1. I wasn't a huge fan.
I stuck it out a little longer, but yeah, no, I'm done.
Well,
I think last issue
Serenity also did not like it that much. So
okay, yeah, last issue just kind of lost me a little bit. So I there was so many books with all these future state books and stuff. I just couldn't. So
yeah, too much.
all right, that's it for most anticipated.
All right, so we're starting to wrap up. So we'll give it to Mike to see what's coming up for everybody.
All right, guys. So anything going on with you two that you want to mention, or?
Let's see. Well, go check out my Gwenom versus Carnage, video. That was fun because it is a love story. So go check that out. And then, yeah, the Kickstarter. We have that coming out in a week. So we're really excited about it. I'll post the link again in the description. Other than that, check out my best comics of the week tomorrow. So it should be a fun one. I'm glad I'm not reading 20 books tomorrow. So I think I have like 14 or so. So that sounds like a good number to me.
Yeah. Not for me directly, but I will plug Dorothy's Jean Spirit's Destiny #3, which I actually designed the Kickstarter page for. I think that's launching this week. The pre-launch page is up, so you can go check her out, and it's a cool book. So yeah, go back it if you can.
I do want to mention we do have the poll for best panels of the week, and we have a tie right now, so definitely go vote.
Yeah. All right, and for me on my channel on Comic Book Corner 2.0, you guys, on Monday I posted comic book cover of the week, or top 10 comic book covers of the week. So go ahead on that video. You can vote on your favorite comic book cover of the week. It's really a lot of fun for people. And then today's Tuesday. Well, no, now it's Wednesday. So I guess it is yesterday. So on Tuesday, let's just say that I did my top 10 most anticipated comic books for next week. So yeah, when I talked about like future state books, like next week's future state books for like 27th, they're pretty bad, man. We got like Aquaman that's coming out, and I forgot there was another really bad one that I was like, oh boy, I'm not looking forward to this. But yeah, so we got some of those coming out. And then tomorrow, of course, stay tuned for my weekly comic book haul, where you get to see all the books I picked up for the week. So,
sweet.
With that being said, I guess we're going to sign off. So if you like what you saw today, and we appreciate all the viewers who watched the show, we had a lot of people watching. So whether you're watching it live or watching it post-show, guys, always remember, if you like this stream, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that bell. Subscribe to either channels, whether it's Comic Frontline or Comic Book Corner 2.0. Follow us on social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube, because that's why you're watching it right now. And until next week, guys, this is all of us signing off, saying thank you so much.